The importance of this podcast is because I want to take things to a next level. Not long ago, I've created, and this is something I've created by myself. It means this was an initiative to go a little bit out of my comfort zone and create logos for adult movie stars like Bonnie Rotten or Doma, or hopefully one called Diana Fawcett.
Ah,
So this is a new dimension. This is something new. This is a new industry. It's to go beyond the music, but to go in something different. I've been doing photography. I also wanted to send you the logo I did for Greta Thunberg, Extinction Rebellion. I've
nice.
also done some logos for Bollocks to Brexit, because at the moment this is on the top table of the UK news. Is there was the general elections, and I've created an invite that I've put on Facebook. You are invited for the general elections on the 12th of December, which was yesterday. We had a very rainy weather. Today it's brilliant.
Ah,
So
excellent.
it's an importance that I've created that anchor just, and I only use Messenger just for this purpose. Otherwise, I'm focused on the computer, and I use Facebook only from the stationary computer, because then I have specific times. For example, but it's just that Harleka Rose urged me to connect now. So this is something which was not on my today's schedule, because I wanted
Okay.
to work on a few more logos,
Okay.
including an important band that I'm not really supposed to mention. It's a big band.
Huh.
It's
Interesting.
a big band, but I have to keep this quiet, because now, since I've raised my price and I charge sometimes up to $500 for a logo, of even $800,
Excellent. Okay.
it's a sort of, I would say, non-disclosure agreement. When it's a bigger
Ah,
company, there is, and even sometimes with a small black metal band, they have me to agree on a non-disclosure agreement that please do not mention anywhere, even if it's a black metal band like Ashdautas, for example, or like Anti-Helix, which are very low-key bands, or like Xenoglyph, who released a demo limited on cassette in only 200 hand numbered copies. They sometimes
wow.
want a non disclosure agreement.
Wow. Excellent. Okay. No,
There was
totally
a
respected.
there was a French band actually like that, called Council Daimonion, with members of Seigneur Volant, Kristallnacht, and a few other very controversial bands. They formed a new project, and it's the purest form of black metal. Just think about Bathory early times, Dark Throne, just the pure orthodox black metal, just satanic black metal, only about occultism, Satanism. And it's a band, they said, we want to keep it totally secret. We want nobody to know who are behind that project. We're looking to
Wow.
do a secret gig with only invites.
Okay.
So they are bands like that. And there was a similar case with a band from LA, a guy called Psycho from Nocturne. He also had a side band called Ritual Combat, and he wanted me to be totally quiet.
Got you.
So the
Absolutely
raising of the
respect it.
price, is mostly that there are more clients who gonna buy my silence. They
I
pay
see.
more money, but they buy my silence. Silence is sometimes for sale, but it's in a private sale under the table. Think about Marcellus Wallace. You wouldn't
I'm
like to
sorry.
mess
Who?
Marcellus Wallace in the movie
Ah,
Pulp Fiction.
of course.
He doesn't want he doesn't want other people than the designated one to give his wife a foot massage, does she?
Ah, absolutely. Great point. Very valid.
So they are kind of more and more um, secrets or secret agreement we need to keep. Not every band will put the logo online immediately like it was back in the MySpace times.
True.
There wasn't this kind of non-disclosure agreement when I did the logo of Soul Asunder. As soon as I finished it, bam, it went immediately live. Now bands work in a completely different way. They want to publish the logo when they have a release. Could be a digital album or a digital EP. They don't want. That's also because first I have accumulated a very important body of work. We're going now to 13,000 logos. Second, 13.
13,000 logos,
13.
sir. Oh my goodness.
We also have this data protection laws that have come in place, which were not there back in the MySpace days.
Right.
So everything has changed.
It really has.
We can't say things like we could say 10 or 15 years ago. We need to be now a lot more careful.
Very true. Careful how so?
And bands now they have also have a different policy. You know, back in the 2000, bands could have more explicit, but now it really has evolved, and bands are now a lot more careful on what they're saying even through their lyrics, or
Okay.
sometimes they don't publish their lyrics at all.
I see. Okay, could I just, I'm sorry to interrupt, sir, but to just address, if I could, really fast before
Yes.
you move on that. Yes, you and I know each other from years back, and many of my friends and colleagues have also commissioned you for work.
Yes.
For their logos. And we were talking about Soul Asunder, and I guess like you kind of said it, and it's interesting that you mentioned the website MySpace when you mentioned this scenario, because yes, you were like, just like that, boom, at a snap of a finger, as soon as you gave the work to us. And I also, I want to go back to this after we expound on the point a little bit, but their process in you actually creating Soul Asunder's logo, it was very personal, and like all of them are. And you explained to me the process in doing that, which is also something I wanted to touch on. But just to touch on this one point, you're right. As soon as you gave it to us, you submitted it. It was like flash, snap. We put it online. MySpace seemed to just be, it was sort of the quick, just click the button and you're famous.
Yes.
You know, add a person, add person, add person. It's like the get famous quick button.
Yes.
It seems to have changed.
It has indeed. It has changed because now it's a lot more competition.
Right.
Working with clients the process has changed because now we start with quick pencil sketches. I'm using my smartphone actually for submitting quick sketches because on the go, I have it only on email. Imagine if I had Facebook Messenger, it would be distracting. It would be eating all my time.
I absolutely see that. Yeah.
I have Facebook Messenger on my phone for a little time, but when it was time last year to change phone to have an upgrade, I had chosen not to pursue with Facebook Messenger on the phone. I've done it now only because to enable this podcast chat.
Oh, I really appreciate it. We all
That
do.
is just a one off. Other than that,
Excellent.
I do not, or I choose not to have Facebook Messenger. Imagine 10 people asking at the time, hey, how's the logo coming along? I have a different schedule now. So when I round up, for example, for 4 5 days, I've processed 50 logo requests. I have clients who are very easy to work with, and I have clients who need a lot or go over. And some clients, I send two sketches, they choose one, and I can process with the chosen, then send a fully inked draft, and then go to the final. Some bands like Scenery from Israel, I've produced 900 sketches and we're still not
Wow.
there.
Wow. 900 and they're
900 quick
satisfied
pencil sketches.
and they're not satisfied.
They're still saying we're getting in the direction, but we're not there yet. Because a logo needs to be instantly recognizable, eye catching, unique, simple, and memorable. They are the new
Yes.
keywords. I actually
I
find
see.
that great some example of logos where I kind of smashed it at first is the logo I did for Emperor, because it was a time where logos were not they were in the black metal scene the only simple logos. They were the logo of Bathory.
Right.
We're talking about the late 80s. And at the same time, Samot was playing in a grindcore band called Embryonic in 89. That was the kind of grind death metal. And
I see.
then he moved to to something more death grind, but with a whole smell of black metal. And then I was in touch with Samot because my co-worker Thierry Prince from Septicor Fanzine was in touch with him. So we were relaying the mail. We were sending back and forth the mail. We were at that point to save stamps, to save postage. We were sharing letters. So we were putting two different letters in one envelope.
Really?
I think it was a great idea to have two different letters because we were discussing different subjects. We're talking about 89. This is how I got in touch with Samoth, because Samoth had another band at that time, Xerasia, which was kind of grind death thrash, and then Embryonic, which was brutal death metal, and then Dole Shall Suffer, and then Emperor came in 1991, and it's just when he said, "I am thinking about forming a new band. I want something much more recognizable. I actually find the whole death metal scene is
Right.
oversaturated, and I
Sure.
needed to
Stand out.
yeah." And actually, I just said I got an idea for Emperor, and I just said directly a fully inked logo.
Fully inked.
Fully inked.
Okay.
I
Explain.
sent it by, at that time, by post.
You sent it by boat.
Post.
Oh,
Ça veut dire
and
by
post.
post. Post
Okay.
is the same as mail.
Got you.
Post.
So, so
To send by post, it's a very England way. In the US, you will probably send by snail mail.
I see. So it's a little bit more personal, maybe.
We send by post.
Right.
That's the normal way.
You didn't put it in a pigeon's talon and have him like fly off. Like that would have been really no.
Yeah, but that was being done back in the Middle Age.
Right, I'm being stupid. All right, excellent. So so basically it took some time in sending it postage. So it really took some time. Maybe you were biting your nails. I wonder if they like it.
What do you mean? I missed what you just said.
Well, I mean, just kind of waiting in anticipation. Like, I wonder if are they going to like it? Maybe they don't like it, and you have to wait.
There was that anticipation back in the in these times.
Right.
Now,
and then
now things are a lot made in one way a lot easier. Sending quick pencil sketches by email or even by WhatsApp, because I prefer WhatsApp than Facebook Messenger.
Sure.
I can get actually a response instantly.
Excellent. Okay, so that anyone listening, make a note of that. If you would like to commission Christophe for some work, what's the best way to reach you?
The best way is email. Christophe.Szpajdel@gmail.com. I am checking my email almost several times a day, except when I have now a very busy schedule where I've sent in total to 50 different clients, bunch of sketches, have received the feedback. As soon as I receive the feedback, I've printed all the feedback. I've actually even scanned the sketch, which is to have it on full scale. And then I can line draw on that sketch using an artograph light pad. So basically, I can have the logo with the exact proportion as the retained sketch. And that makes me work quicker. And then do a pencil draft and then ink it and then scan it and send it. So I've sort of accelerated my process, because with the quick sketches, there is no more waiting time. This week I've produced about 60 different logos. 30 has been approved and another 30 are still waiting for approval.
Excellent. Okay.
So it's a lot of hard work.
Certainly so. And we will have a link on our page for that to be able to contact you. And just to flashback just for a second, I wanted to talk about a little bit. I have a couple questions. Firstly, has there been a band since Emperor that has had that sort of impact for you, that you have made a logo for, that has been like, okay, and can you name them?
I would say bands with impact like this would be Wolves in the Throne Room, Abigail Williams.
I'm sorry, what was the next one?
Abigail Williams.
Oh yeah, love that group. And what a beautiful band name.
Moonspell.
Hell yeah.
Impiety. That's another band which kept my logo their entire existence.
Excellent.
Destructor from Australia.
Nice.
So we have quite a lot of bands that have kept.
Absolutely, because you just can't fake what Christophe does. And everyone I've ever been associated with in my, short career, and everyone knows the name Christophe and knows it's just a sure thing. Here's another thing I wanted to touch on, because I remember way back in the day when we asked if you would do a logo you've done a few for me, and for
Yes. So
Soul Asunder,
Asunder.
yes. And I remember you finally submitted it to me on Thanksgiving Day
Yeah,
uh, in my country,
exactly. And Thanksgiving
and
Day
you
is very symbolic for me because I do celebrate it even if I had to be at work on Thanksgiving Day because I work in a retail store,
uh
and we are open on Thanksgiving Day.
and you still celebrate. Interesting.
I still celebrate it. I stay to the when I'm working on the checkouts, and I've been working mostly on the checkouts. I just say good evening and happy Thanksgiving. Most of the people they were looking at me gobsmacked. What the heck is with him? But we do have some American customers. We do.
And they really appreciate it.
They really appreciate. We do have American customers. We do have
Excellent.
a lot of Americans. They're very kind of. You need to know that they're the same with Canadians. We do have Canadians. You need to know that this guy is Canadian.
Right.
Like
Really.
with me, I'm from Belgium. People need to know that I'm Belgian because
Right.
if they ask me where I am from, I tend to keep that silence and said, "Thank you very much for asking, but I had opted not to display that information.
Certainly.
I keep very much myself to myself when I'm at work, except if some people said, "Oh, uh, I've seen the artworks you do. That's great. Oh, thank you." Then yes, because there are people who are aware of what I do, but it's not something I'm boasting about.
Certainly, and that's very admirable. But I do remember you contacting me when you finally submitted the Solus Under logo, and
Yes,
you said you explained to me this is what I did. 'Cause this was another big thing. Every time that I ever asked for a logo from any of my groups, you said there's one thing I require. I need a song. I need a
yes,
song from your band or your
yes,
group or whatever I'm drawing for. I want to be able to hear it to put in
yeah,
context and what. So I sent you one, and when you sent me the logo, you explained to me that you spent the entire day sitting under a tree,
yes. I've
and it
kind
was
of,
in Sweden, or unless I'm mistaken, or was it which country?
I think it was at that time in the UK because that's where I live.
Okay,
I live in the UK. I live now in Exeter since 2006, which is situated in Devon.
ah, so that was very impactful for me, and I certainly the first thing I did was message all of my bandmates and say that, like, oh my God, Christophe just said he drew this under a tree while listening to our song and sent it to him. Everybody was like, oh, holy shit, that's it. And it remains our logo today, even though
Yes.
we've disbanded.
At that time,
So
it was a lot listening to CDs. Now, technology has been a very good auxiliary. It has been very helpful technology because it helped me to literally listen to a band on YouTube. At that time, we didn't have YouTube.
true.
We didn't have all the social media.
That's right.
At that time, Facebook was not quite
No,
there.
no, you counted on me to send you a song so that you could hear
Yes.
us exist.
Now it's so much different because you can go on YouTube and find a link. Ask a client to send a link on YouTube.
Right.
So that has tremendously changed our.
Dynamic. Sure.
Yeah,
Would you say that that made it a little more of a challenge for you to live up to, or is there the same connection where when you deliver a logo, most of the bands are like, oh my God?
It's not the same now because
Really?
bands start now to have more. Trying with quick sketches is success comes from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm.
Sure. A
So
bunch of spoiled little bitches is what I think.
I think
Like
that
here's a question. What about meme, or I'm sorry, I said meme, of course. Logo generators online. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've seen some logo generators online, but it's basically not where I want to go.
Of course not. There's no essence in it.
It's not what I want to do. This kind of logo generators online, and a lot of bands actually, the small bands, they will satisfy themselves with a logo generator. They can see how easy it is to get a logo done uh, by an auto generator. It's the same like, for example, a logo to be auto vectored.
Alter vector. What is that? Could you
auto. That means it vectorizes itself.
Okay.
That we call the auto vector. It's a kind of software or a program. You put the logo through and it vectors itself. And generally,
Right.
it's not a good thing because I'm working more and more with graphic designers who I associate myself because they want the logo to be in a vector format.
Right.
So it's also a different approach.
Yeah, and I feel like it's completely hollow, and anyone who would settle for that, it probably is a reflection of their music, right?
The new bands, the new industry has profoundly changed.
How so in your eyes?
I think first we came from a physical world of physical CDs to
True.
a more and more digital world, which means bands can even play a concert and have the concert on a webcam retransmitted wherever it can be.
Right.
People
And
seem
that
now to record live performance on a device. At
right.
that point, that some events are banning the use of cell phones because of this kind of distribution of the
Sure.
music, because of the distribution of the music.
Sure. So okay, I see what you mean. So maybe a sort of example is like the new Tool. Let's take for example. Of any band in the world, that is one that we have been waiting in anticipation for so long. And then finally, their album's about to come out. And I remember 2 songs being released on YouTube of them performing live, which were from that album. And the question that me and my old bandmate, my friend, were talking about is, do you think that they are glad those 2 songs are out, or do you think that them and their lawyers and record labels were like, well, hold on, that's, what is important anymore? And for any band, I think Tool is a good example of that. It's like trying to protect something, but it's just, you're right. We are so far from the vinyl moving to CD era that it seems like you couldn't even really experience a new album from track 1 to the end of the album like the band really wanted you to in the 70s, like the story. Now it's just one track at a time, 99 cents or $1 on iTunes.
Yes.
Where's the passion in that? Let alone the art.
The problem is now It's bands release their album on a digital format.
Right. And where
It's
is the art in that? Where, like, I mean, I'm only 37 years old.
yeah,
I only lived, I lived the very end of the cassette tape era
yes,
and the beginning of the CD era, and I lived through that. But even just the CD era, seeing on the other side, I can only imagine when you had vinyls, because they're
yeah,
much larger. When you have a
mm,
record, they're big books. That must have been fun, right? Like to be able to immerse yourself in this world
yes,
when you open the book.
yeah,
And we don't have that anymore. We have something glowing on our laptop or cell phone, which is, you know, it's at least it's immediate. Sure. So you seem to get rapid growth, rapid evolution, rapid this, rapid that, but you can never really stand back and quiet. I mean, there's my lifelong fucking argument that I've had with my friends. When's the last time you've actually listened to music and just submitted yourself to the music
yeah.
instead of throwing on some music in the background of your own browsing for the day?
It was very different because nowadays people they spend a lot of time browsing.
Right.
They spend
And
a
you,
lot of time, but I, for example, when I'm working on a logo, I need to get something really start listening to, immerse myself. So it's also making it easier because I don't have to wait. A band can send me a link, or they can send me just a YouTube link, and then I can have a listen to the song, which makes me it helps me to work a lot quicker.
excellent. So then if a band commissions you, like Christophe, we would love to have you
Yes,
do a logo for us. They can give you their work instantaneously, and then
exactly.
especially if it grabs you personally, your preference and your style, you can get
Yes,
inspired. Like boom,
yes, exactly. You know,
nice.
we are coming to a world where things need this. There is that instant communication.
Right.
There is that instant, and also bands want update a lot quicker. There is now even within an hour. How's everything? That means
Right.
they want an update.
Wow. Yeah. So that can get a little bit trying.
Yeah,
And gosh, so all right. So okay,
easier.
so can I go back to the question because you were explaining way back years ago on that Thanksgiving Day about your ritual with under the tree. But do you still have certain projects where you take time? Is there any sort of anything ritualistic that you do for
Yeah,
logos that you're really invested in, and
yeah.
like what are some of those?
There is a project actually for myself at the moment that I want to include it in the book. It's a project where I've got two logos, one called Out of the Dark and the other
Dark.
Into the Light. The reason why I've created these logos is because I took a photo of a moorhen on the reflection of the water. I will send you those photos once I get everything done because I
Okay.
got the two logos and two photos. And one, the moorhen is still in the dark. The water is all black around. But the second photo, it's like this moorhen has made his trail and goes into the light, the reflection of the white sky. So this is where I called it Out of the Dark into the Light. I've worked on it, but I have not published it yet because I am just busy with some time sensitive projects.
I see.
So the
Beautiful.
time sensitive project I need at the moment, I need to prioritize and I need to sort things per priority. When I'm
Understood.
working with you, I'm working on the album titles for a band that would like to see. some updates today. So I want to
Okay.
get them ready by 4 o'clock, which now is 10 to 2. At least a quick pencil, but that allows me to discuss with you still.
Right.
I just
Beautiful. Well,
to keep working and talking at the same time.
absolutely. And I'm not going to have you too much longer. This has been a completely charming episode. I really appreciate it. So I want to ask you, why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about, I know what you're promoting right now is your second book, if I'm not mistaken, Lord of the Logos 2.
Yep.
Could you talk a little bit about the first book, Lord of the Logos, and then what part 2 will touch on?
Okay. Part 1 was more a book about me. It's a book with lots of logos and a selection of photos out of thousands and thousands and thousands. So
Beautiful.
It's basically a little bit of my work, all in a book. I wanted to put some text, but Gestalten, they wanted to just release a book about me. I was at a stage like I was reaching my 40 and I was feeling like a woman who wanted desperately her first child. This first child is the book, a book about the logos, about just designing metal logos in the underground. That was all about the importance of logo art.
Excellent.
Things
Lord of the Logos.
in the second volume of the book is I'm still unable to say what publisher because I have not signed any contract yet. But it's a book which is going to be called Archaic Modernism, and it's a book where I want to share a bit my experience about the exhibitions and working with clients in general.
Excellent.
So
beautiful.
This is the second. It's gonna be. It has the working title of Archaic Modernism, but that's not the final title.
What is it? Archaic
Modernism.
Modernness?
Modernism. Modernism.
Okay.
Like modern. So it's about modernism, about archaic modernism, about
archaic modernism.
Archaic modernism.
Yeah. Gotcha. Beautiful. All right, Christophe, this was an amazing experience, really. And I really, now that we have this figured out on the technical side, maybe you can join us again down the road and tell us
I think that this episode is so nice that it should be published as it is.
I agree. And I will make it clean.
Mm-hmm. You may want to do a few tiny tweaks there, but it's 99.99% good to go. Please,
I agree.
It by all means. It needs to see. It needs to kind of reach the air, and it also needs to reach. And that's the message is important. Is it needs to reach something different. Think about movies. Think about movie actors. Think about models, especially women, which are models. Think about adult movie actors, porn stars. They could actually be potentially interested to see what kind of work I do. So this is a new industry. I know that the porn industry is a very nasty industry because I've read a few testimony from people who literally went out of the industry. That's mostly because of drugs, alcohol, addiction, brainwashing, and other unfair treatments.
Oh, I am sure there is all of that riddled within the industry. However, unfortunately, me being the man that I am, Christophe, is that the porn industry contains tits and ass, which is just okay with me. However, let me just say this much. You have been, you have been very.
This is wonderful because I've actually had even I've created a logo. So a logo which says, one says, feel like a cougar in a toy boy warehouse.
Oh, that sounds right up my
That's
wheelhouse,
on
sir. Let me
Instagram.
ask you this. Have you done a lot of tattoos on beautiful women? I'm sure you must have.
I have done some, yes, sure. I have kept. There is one woman from California who lives in New York called Jonelle Waters, something like that. There's quite. Oh, there is one called Melissa Mitchison from Exeter. There is one called Emily Princess Smith, for who I did a large amount of different works, and she got actually one very brightly tattooed on her leg. So that's really
excellent.
And actually, as soon she got this artwork tattooed on herself, literally next day after I've delivered the work, I sent the work via Facebook Messenger. Next day, she already had it tattooed.
Yeah, see, you've got that magic touch, sir. You are the warlock that we can all appreciate.
Yes.
Can I ask you this toward the end of the episode here before we wrap up?
Yeah.
Is there a band in particular that grabs your musical taste that you'd like to talk about for a little bit?
I think I would say Walls in the Throne Room. I just listened to excerpts of the new album, and it's one of the most amazing band. I would next put to this Kralis, Nightbringer.
Where is Kralis from?
They are an American band, but I don't remember where exactly they're from. However,
Okay.
I do remember Nightbringer. They're actually from Colorado.
Nightbringer?
Nightbringer.
Yes, I remember them.
Colorado, and they are one of my band that literally stole one of the band that stole my heart.
Excellent.
I think when it goes to black metal, what's very important is a band. The music needs to literally soak you in. It needs to be transcendental. It needs to be spiritualistic. It needs to have a concept. We have completely passed this archive of death, Satan, Lucifer. We appreciate this kind of bands, but nowadays we really need to reinvent ourselves. I totally adore and respect the heralds like Dark Throne, like Mayhem, who actually developed that style back in the 80s, and they continue in that way because they are the inventors. But the new bands, I think it's also time to think about Secrets of the Moon from Germany, to be inventive, to be innovative, to be flexible with their style, to be tuned in. You remember the name FIT? FIT stands for innovative. First, FIT, it comes to flexible, focused. I, innovative, inventive. And T means tuned in. It means that it can tune in a sort of new vibe, bringing something new. So think about all these bands like Secrets of the Moon, who have developed a more intelligent style of black metal. They are actually this kind of bands that I have a special interest. The interest comes mostly because they are building new. They're not just bashing the church and breaking the old. They are actually bringing a completely new concept. And that's also where the post-black metal, which actually started to develop in 2008, 2009, especially on the footsteps of bands like Amsur, like Alceste, Les Discrets. The whole post-black metal, Agalok, to mention a band in Oregon.
I fucking love Agalok.
Because they are this kind of inventive. They
Absolutely.
are this kind of, they go beyond the black metal. They
really do. Yes.
This is the above and beyond, because they've invented something there. And this is what I really like, because they turn black metal into something unique, instantly recognizable and memorable. Remember Venom, black metal, it's a memorable release. Think about Metallica, Master of Puppets. It's a memorable album. You can't beat that feeling.
No. And it takes balls to recreate and not just redo.
They are bands who literally grab you by the balls. I would say in South America, there's some amazing bands like early Sepultura, when they released Schizophrenia, which is my favorite album, Sarcophago.
Hell yeah.
From California, I would say definitely Possessed. It's one of them. Dark Angel with We Have Arrived.
Dark Angel, We Have Arrived?
Yeah, that's a legendary album. You can't miss it. You can't forget it. It's like you're talking about Italian cuisine and not mentioning pasta.
Fucking so true. Absolutely. It's unmistakable.
You have this kind of bands. Even Slayer, Show No Mercy, they are the bands that bring you a shiver down the spine. But think about bands who are less known, like, for example, Sentinel Beast, which is
Sentinel Beast. What are they called?
Sentinel Beast.
Okay.
It's a band from the 80s, not very well known. They are Metal Blade signature, because back then Metal Blade was the label that was holding all great stuff, same as New Renaissance, and they're based in Burbank. I don't know if
Wow.
New Renaissance are still around, but I think isn't that the label of Anne Boleyn from the band Helion? New Renaissance Records.
New Renaissance Records. Okay.
Yeah, they released some amazing stuff like Blood Feast or like Ex Mortis.
I love Ex Mortis. They're great. I've played with
We're
them
talking
once.
about Ex Mortis, who released their first demo, Immortality's End, with Drew Elliott as album cover artist.
Yeah. Nice.
We're talking about that Ex Mortis from the 80s, which was one of the few first death metal band. Think about Dream Death, who
Right.
then gave way to Penance. That was the step. There was one of these bands paving the way towards doom metal, towards
Right.
the whole rebirth of doom metal.
The doom metal, which you were a part of. God bless him, or Satan curse him, whatever it is. We are with it. And
doom
doom metal,
is fantastic because it works so great to be on the God side or on the Satan side. Doom metal is actually universal. It's a very underestimated genre. Actually, doom metal never attracted as many fans as black speed or death metal fan. Doom metal bands were attracting a lot less people at gigs, but there were people who actually traveled longer distances to attend a doom metal gig.
That would be a beautiful conversation. You know what I'd love to do, Christophe, is for our next episode, if you would so grace us with your appearance again, is to talk about the different genres of metal and how they've grown. But before I do that, I'd just like to say, anyone listening, there is no God. And if there is one, he hates you. And just kidding. So beyond that, Christophe, I don't want to take too much more of your time because I know you've got a lot to do. This has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for a glimpse and this special time that we got to get some insight from the greatest logo artist, unarguably, indisputably, the greatest metal logo artist of our times, Christophe here. And we're going to give a link to your book, Lord of Logos, and you have one coming out, Lord of Logos 2, which I'd love for you to come back on the podcast when that's released to give us some insight. I know you're constantly on the road doing signings and touring with different bands. And listen, I just really, really appreciate it. We all do. I know all of my metal friends are going to be groveling at my feet, and me along with them, that you joined us today. So thank you, Christophe.
That's fantastic.